Do you remember?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, he's got 7:30 on the form, but that's
7:30,
close enough.
8 o'clock.
Right. Granted, the fact that 50 years has passed, it's fine. All right. The place of sighting: Maryland, County of Baltimore, Loch Raven Reservoir.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Country, U.S., of course. Okay. Now, Finhagen, you have a new address for?
No, I'll have to get it. It's an assisted living place.
Okay, because it calls for, what we ought to do is refer that on here as well, because in case they ever want to go back to him. All right, now, find my thing here. Here we go. Okay, now the first set of questions on this one is regarding the UFO. This is the drawing. Did you make the drawing, or did he?
No, I think, no, that could have been me.
Could have been, okay.
Yeah, well, that's my printing.
Alrighty. Now, over here, he's got white ultraviolet lights.
That's
okay?
right.
Now,
But the only thing that he does not show, that there was an ultraviolet lightings were between two panels. In other words, the upper part of what I thought I saw as a saucer, in the bottom part.
okay.
And in between the two, like a pie, would have been the ultraviolet lighting.
Okay, let me just make a quick sketch on this part down here, because we're not going to use this anyway. We'll take it as a saucer, okay, divided in half.
Divided in half.
Is that closer than this, as far as a picture of it, or would you make it different? I mean, is this the ultraviolet white and then the orange?
Mm-mm.
No.
Then I'd say about a 6 foot or 7 foot division.
Oh,
it was the upper part,
okay.
the lower part, in between.
So you got a ring in the middle here somewhere.
That's right.
Okay. Does that ring extend beyond the saucer, or
No.
It's
No,
okay,
no,
just
no.
in there. Okay. What coloration was the ring itself?
Ultraviolet.
That was ultraviolet.
Yeah.
But
And there
this-
was a plasma of some sort
right.
in there. There was movement of
Right.
some sort.
Right. Well, okay.
All right.
That's good, actually. Now this was orange then, and this was orange. They were both orange, top and bottom. You said the ultraviolet was the center.
That's right.
Okay. But this
It's
was
hard
orange.
to determine what color they were.
Okay. All right. All right. But or it was an overall orange glow and with an ultraviolet center.
That's correct.
Okay, good. All right. That kind of covers that part. Okay. Now, the statement here on number 2 is, what made you first notice the object? And it says, the sky lit up as if it was sunset. Now, this is at twilight.
No, wait a minute. It was beyond twilight. It was almost darkness.
Almost dark. Okay.
That required headlights on a car.
May. Yeah, that'd be about right, I guess. May at 7:30 in the afternoon. Okay. So you needed headlights. All right. So
7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay. So then, okay, we're talking dark, and then suddenly a bright glowing object lights up the sky. Okay. What did you think when you first noticed it? You knew immediately it was a saucer? I mean, not like a fire or anything like that. You saw it right away it was a saucer?
All right, let's go back
Okay.
to where it all started and how we were out there and why we were there.
Okay.
We had 2 blind dates from Goucher College on Delaney Valley Road, and there was nothing out there beyond that.
Right.
We stopped at Goucher College. The girls weren't ready yet. So Pink Davis and myself, we were in his car, drove into Source's Saloon, picked up 2 6-packs of beer, and we felt as though we had another half an hour, 45 minutes to go before we picked up the girls. Now these 2 girls were it was a boarding school, and We'd gone in, they said, oh, pick us up in maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. We picked up 2 6-packs of beer at Source's Saloon in Towson. Went across Chopper Road and hit what is now the end of Loch Raven Boulevard that leads down to the Beltway. That was only a very narrow, windy road. Got down to the main road that led into Loch Raven Dam. And we felt as though we'd go through the Loch Raven Dam, cross the bridge, continue on Delaney Valley Road, which would take us right to Goucher.
Okay, this is the road going up, but okay, what we want to do is focus on where you got up to this point, not
That's right.
beyond. Okay, so you're up here.
That's right.
You're driving along,
That's right.
and then
Approximately 100 feet from the bridge.
right.
All right.
Okay, and then you got within 50 feet. You said, right?
50 to 100 feet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the car stopped.
Okay, automatically. You had nothing to do with stopping it, right?
Oh, no.
Okay.
And I jokingly said to Pink, now, this was a 1946, 1947 yellow Dodge convertible.
Bingo. Okay.
Okay?
Okay. We had a question as to what the make and model was.
All right.
You don't have the car anymore, needless to
Oh,
say.
no.
Okay.
It was never my car to start with. It was.
Oh, that was his. That's right.
It was his car.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now there was a question about it was a convertible. The top's down.
That's right.
Now the windows. You said you saw it in the one form. You said you saw it through the windows, right? Now
What?
was that the side windows or the front windscreen?
No,
or
it was the front windshield.
front windshield. Oh, okay. That
The
explains
car
that.
stopped.
Right. Okay.
Jokingly, I said to Mr. Davis, how are we going to pick up the girls if we're out of gas already?
Bingo. Yeah. So you hadn't noticed it at this point, even though you were stopped. Okay.
And then the headlights went out on the car.
Right.
So we're in darkness.
We got it.
Nobody behind us,
Right.
nobody in front of us.
Right.
If they would have been in front of us, they would have had to have been over here.
Right.
All right. Coming the other way. No headlights. And just looking out through the windshield. Here's this
Glowing thing.
glowing thing, this, what I would say, a flying saucer.
Okay. 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 One question I have on it, we determined that it's kind of like saucer shape, of course. But now you're looking at on edge, right?
I'm looking on it upwards.
At an angle.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can determine that it is saucer shaped because of the
Directly over the
fact that
hood, looking up.
because it's up. Right. Okay. It's up above you. Do you have any idea how high it might be?
Oh, I'd say 200 feet, 300 feet high.
Height. Okay.
Over the water.
Over the water, not over you. The
No,
water is
over
down
the
below.
water in
Right.
front of us.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, it would be whereabouts on this map? I mean,
Right there.
right there. Okay.
If we were here,
Right.
anywhere in here, right here.
Okay. So I'll just put an X in this general area. Okay. That's the UFO out there. Okay. So this is, and of course you're 50 to 100 feet off the bridge. So you're looking across this way.
That's right.
Okay, very good. Because in there you had said you, at least was his drawing anyway, had you going to the west. So it says.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this would be more north.
Well, in relations to where we were, I would have to say this would have been north, that would have been west.
Okay, it's from your perspective. It
Yeah.
was, okay, to your left, and that would be like you're facing this way, so it's to your left.
No,
You're
I was
west.
facing straight.
Oh, you're facing straight. Okay.
I was here.
Right.
It's a very, very sharp turn here. almost a 90-degree
Yeah.
to go across that bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was actually this way, looking there. Here was the bridge here.
Okay. We're gonna try and do some measurements later on to see, how high it was, angles and so forth. So we'll cover the where it is and all that later on. On the drawing here, it had something I couldn't quite read. You got trees, etc., and it looks like mass.
Land mass.
Oh,
trees.
land mass. Okay, land. I couldn't make that out. Okay. L-A-N-D.
And it's a high bank here.
Mm-hmm.
High bank.
Okay.
I'd say the bank goes up maybe 20, 30 feet.
Okay. Very good.
Covered with trees and shrubbery. On this side is like the road was cut through, and on this side was just a very, very heavy dip
Okay.
that led down to the water.
Okay.
That
Well,
led right there.
okay, we'll see that when we get down there tomorrow. Let's see. How did you lose sight of the object? Mr. Call observed the object for 2 minutes. See, there I have a question. Let's see where it is. What was it? Let's see, number one above. Number one above. Lost the page. Here we go. Nope. There is one part in here, it says it was viewed for 10 minutes, and then it says you only saw it for 2 minutes. So I was kind of trying to figure out what the discrepancy was. Now he wrote the report evidently, right? Or did you?
Oh no, I didn't write that.
Okay, he
No.
wrote it then. Okay, because there's two different times. One states in this form here, as a matter of fact. Well, it's actually this. That's what it is. What the hell was it? Number 6. That would be. Mr. Call observed the object for about 2 minutes, and then it was gone. Okay. But
No, I'd say. What is relative? How can you see something,
and time it. I know.
hear something,
Yeah.
and I certainly would never check my watch to see,
No, I
hey,
understand.
it's going to be there for 10 more minutes, or it was there for 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to. Since there was a difference in time, I thought maybe it was like you only observed it moving up for 2 minutes, or, I have no idea. 'Cause
No,
I didn't know. What we're looking for is the total time that you did observe it, roughly. And of course, again, this is 50 years ago.
All right, now, well, we observed it. By the time I got out of the car, over the front seat, climbed up over the back seat,
Mm-hmm.
climbed up over the trunk,
Right.
and popped across the guardrail to lay down in this ditch. It could have been 5 minutes.
And then you watched it.
It's truthfully, Carl, I was so goddamn frightened,
I can imagine.
and every hair on my body was standing on end.
Understood.
And I'd say a time frame, maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. Well,
Do the whole thing, because then I observed it after I went into the ditch.
right. That's what I mean. So you're seeing it from the car, you get out of the car, you run for the ditch, and then you're still observing it when you're in the ditch.
That's
So
right.
okay, we'll close it at 10 minutes then, rather than this 2 minutes that he had put in for your observation.
All right.
Okay. So 10 minutes is the overall. Okay. Excellent. Okay. It was later determined that the automobile, as a result of the actions of the object, suffered from reverse polarity.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Now,
That's what they attempted to tell us.
well, that's what I'm trying to find out is who made that determination that it was reverse. I mean,
That evening, a police car came by.
right?
I was still in the ditch. I don't know where Mr. Davis was at this time,
Right.
but we were taken back to Towson in a police car. And the old Towson police station was on Washington Avenue opposite the Armory, directly behind the post office. We made our report, and as I say, I spent 43 years with the county government. My offices were right across the street in the Campbell Building, or the old courthouse. The next morning I had a county car that was assigned to me. The next morning you could park inward and into the old on Pennsylvania Avenue, Chesapeake Avenue. You could park in diagonally with automobiles. Parked the car, went up to the office. Strangely enough, nobody wanted to talk to me. Finally, I was able to get it out of somebody. Hey, we got a damn fool here. Somebody says that they saw flying saucers last night. I walked out of the building, got into the car. Two men came over, asked me to get out of the vehicle. I accompanied them down to the second floor office in the police station. And there were two other men there. One older gentleman introduced himself and said something about Operation Blue Book. And to this point at the time, I had no idea what Blue Book was. And then two men interviewed me. The final go-round was both of our stories. Mr. Davis was interviewed. I was interviewed. Our stories matched. What did they see? What did he see? What did I see?
Right.
I was then partway through the conversation in the interview. They made me feel as though I was losing my mind because what I saw was a reflection of headlights on the other side of the bridge.
Sound familiar?
Then I was told the reason why the car stopped, and they determined it was reverse polarity, is because we had tried to rig it up, hot rod it.
Yeah.
And we had played with it. There was no playing with this automobile. If it was playing with the automobile, how come we got as far as we came?
Okay, I have one question about the ignition wires supposedly were fried, right? Burned?
Well, you could smell them. And you could smell the electrical harness in the car.
Okay, what about the surface of the hood? Was that affected at all, the paint? No.
No.
Just the wires underneath the hood?
Well, you could smell it. It was an ozone odor.
Yeah, okay. Now, I was just curious because if there was heat damage, I would have expected the top of the car to be singed as well. Okay, all right.
At that point, I wasn't really worried about if that was paint on that car or not.
No, I'm sure you were terrified. Keith had questions, though, about the Blue Book people, and so do I. The people who interviewed you at the courthouse, were they in uniform or were
No.
They were in civilian clothes?
Uh-huh.
Did they present you with any identification?
Yes.
Did you notice what the identification
No.
was? No.
It was something that I had just been with Baltimore County, say, 2 or 3 years.
Uh-huh.
I was threatened with loss of job. I was
What, because of this event? Because of this event?
I was also told to erase it, get it out of my mind. What I saw was strictly a figment of my imagination and reflection off of headlights and things like this.
Okay, to clarify, this was not the police department that told you that. It was not the county that told you that. I mean, later on, they evidently threatened you at your job.
It was these two men.
Right, but these two men who were doing specifically this thing of intimidating you and saying, no,
That's
it's
right.
not so. Okay, very good. Let me just go over some of Keith's questions here. I think we already covered this. After realizing the vehicle would not start, explain the sequence of events that took place in getting tow service and contacting the police. Was that good enough for you, or did you want to go deeper?
I got a little confused with the event. Did you get interviewed that particular night, or they called you back?
Next morning.
The next morning.
Next morning, okay.
And at the time...
Next morning when I was leaving to go to work and had parked the county car in front of the county office building. Two men came up to me, introduced themselves. I was asked to go down to a second floor office at the police department. And that's where the interview took place.
Okay. So the police must have notified the Air Force or whoever it was.
I have no
You
idea.
have civilian clothes, and you don't know who it would have been. CIA probably would have been in uniform to cover up the fact that they were civilian, unless it was
I
FBI.
can't imagine the Air Force not showing up in uniform.
Yeah. So.
No, there was.
Yeah.
They did not have a uniform on.
Lord knows who it was then. No way of telling. And of course.
And that's the reason they came up, and that's where I first heard about Operation Blue Book.
Okay. When the other gentleman got the car back, I mean, evidently he had a bill for repairs or whatever, right? Do you remember him stating what it was?
No,
No. Okay.
no. All I know, it was a car that he bought from his neighbor down the street by the name of Alan Geiger. And it was a yellow Dodge convertible.
Okay. Do you remember what company towed the vehicle? Or you weren't there at the time the police take over?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay.
I was out of that ditch in the back of a police car.
Okay, so you don't know who towed it and repaired it then. Okay. Police showed up. Where was the account given? You already explained that.
Pardon?
No, I was just
Oh.
going this question. You've already explained it. They were skeptical. That covers your number 4 there, I believe. Okay. You have no idea of what the police did or who they contacted,
No.
so that's gone.
I have no idea
Okay, so
even where Mr. Davis was interviewed.
All right. Well, it makes sense that they would divide you to ask you the questions, because one person might influence the other. So this is typical interview.
No, I was by myself.
Yeah, no, that's the way it should be. If you and your wife had seen it, I would have taken you in a different room and done an interview with you and then one with your wife. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that kind of interrogation. That's the way it should be. They weren't in uniform. We covered that. Air Force Project Blue Book. We've already covered that. I think we're down 10. I'm down at 10. Try to recall as many questions as possible that the Air Force personnel asked. Can you do that, or?
Pardon, what was this again?
He just wants you to recall as many questions that these supposed Air Force people.
It was a good hour.
An hour. Do you remember
An
some of the
hour
questions?
interview.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the questions they asked you?
Where did you see it?
Right.
Describe it. Were you on what side of the bridge? Then I was told it was figment of my imagination. The car may have just run out of gas, and putting it bluntly, at the very end of the conversation or the interview, if I wish to keep my job with Baltimore County government. I said, yes. Fine. We suggest you just forget what you have seen. You no longer talk about it and erase it from your memory.
Okay. Did they say anything of what they were going to do? It sounds like they had no intention of doing anything, but they didn't say they were going to file a report or do anything? No.
No.
Okay. One fast question on this before I get my questions. Your date of birth?
My date of birth?
Yeah.
June the 3rd, 1932.
June 13th?
The 3rd.
3rd. I'm sorry. 3rd. 1942?
1932.
32. 32. Son of a gun, you're 6 years older than me. Okay. Okay, I'll try to hit some of mine.
You know, I will be 71 this June.
I got a few years to go. Okay, now, that we'll do later. Approximate size.
And the strange part about it all is that as close as Pink and I were as neighbors and growing up together as childhood friends, he refused to even discuss it.
Well, it's, I got the impression that he was in a sensitive position. I mean,
No, now he is.
oh, now? Okay.
Or
Back then he wasn't?
when this original interview,
You know?
yes, he was in California.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If word had gotten out that he was into UFOs, it might have, you know, hurt his career one way or another.
Neither one of us were married at that time.
Yeah. At
We
the
were-
time of the sighting, or that time of the
No, at
report?
the time of the sighting.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. What I'm talking about is if he's in a job and UFOs have always been kind of regarded as like crackpot stuff. You
Well,
know?
that's right.
So I mean, if somebody acknowledges it, and next thing this thing is published, and he's in the position, you know, that everybody's saying, "Hey, you're one of those nuts," you know. So he probably
CPA, accountant. He had an awful lot of influential and very important people in Los Angeles and Hollywood that he was doing their work for in their accounting. Excuse me.
That's right. Josh,
Let me
water
get
or
my
some-
breath.
Water or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Carl, I'm a little confused. At the time of the sighting, he was a certified public accountant?
No,
No,
not
that's
that.
later on.
Later on. But
They were both single guys when they saw it, but then they got
Right.
married later on.
Okay.
The report evidently came later. I mean, the sighting date was 53. The thing we don't have on here is the signature when the report was made. That's why I'm, you know, kind of ticked because they didn't fill that part out.
Right, that's just because of inexperience, like I said. Don.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Well, it's not only an experience. Well, yeah, I guess so. That would have been important because
Very.
you can't
Yeah.
tell when the report was done versus when the sighting was. Okay, I'm gonna do my thing now, which is the water part.
Right.
Okay, because that's what interests me the most. In here, you have some kind of, or he drew it. I'm not sure, but there's brackets here. Okay?
Yeah.
And now you have the column of water going up between these brackets. Did you see these brackets on the bottom?
No.
No. I'm very happy to
No.
hear that because they're not usually shown on any of these damn things.
There was a glow coming from the center of this thing
At the bottom?
at the bottom. It looked like a pillar of fog going up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have a lot of reports and I kind of understand the stuff that's going on around here. Now, would you say that that thing was more like this or a straight column up and down underneath the thing?
Straight column up and down.
Straight column up and down. Okay. All right. Now, all you saw was like a mist in here, right?
Like a fog.
Okay. Did
And
you
of course, that's one thing that the interviewer did bring up too. If your headlights were out,
How did you see it?
how did you see it?
Because of the glow of the object.
I said because of the glow of the vehicle itself. Well,
Makes sense.
it could have been a foggy night. And if a car was coming the opposite direction over that body of water, it would have reflected on the fog. So therefore, that's what I saw, a fog leading up to this thing.
That's what they wanted to
That's what they told me.
Bingo, okay. Yeah, no, it's
I was
understood.
very, very impressed that they weren't there, but they were doing the telling.
Right, and specifically when you said it was a clear night, right?
It was a clear night. The top was down on the convertible.
Bingo. Okay, you can blow that away. I'm just interested, like I said, the water portion. Were you able to see the surface? I don't remember. I haven't been there, so I don't know whether
No.
you couldn't see the surface of the
No,
water.
because it's all smooth water.
Right. Okay. I was just trying to figure underneath where this column was, what condition the water was in, if you could determine that. But I mean, if you
No,
couldn't see it-
because where I was, I would have had to walk up the highway approximately 100 feet
and then look down.
and look down.
Oh, okay. Good.
Because the elevation, the water to this was approximately 300 feet up in the air.
Right.
The water to this, it may have been rippled, but it's just a still body of water.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't blocked by a landmass or something.
No,
like that.
no,
Okay,
no,
all right.
no.
So you could see the water.
Yeah.
And of course, this mist, fog, whatever you want to call it, underneath the UFO, was right to the surface.
Right.
Okay. Well, that would exclude.
And it was making a noise.
The water was making a noise.
No.
Oh, the UFO
This,
was making
yeah.
a noise. Okay. And how would you describe the noise?
I'll never forget this.
Okay.
In a manger, mum, mum, mum. In a manger, mum, mum, mum.
Kind of like a pulsating thing.
Yeah. In a manger,
You know?
mum, mum, mum.
Yeah.
And repeated and repeated and repeated.
Kind of strange. Yeah.
And then where I was, it was high enough to actually see there was light radiating out of this thing. And there were purple lights, like ultraviolet lighting. And there was definitely a plasma or movement within the ultraviolet band.
Right. No, I can understand that. Now, see, the thing that got me, this is what we've settled on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The way this drawing was made, I see these square, rectangular things, and I'm thinking windows, but you didn't see any windows.
Well, it was a complete transparent band.
Right. This was the transparent
Yeah.
band. Right, okay. Actually, we're going to have to change
I
the
would
drawing.
say they must have been windows.
Oh, this transparent band in the middle?
Yeah.
Could have been windows.
Yeah, it could have been windows, but it was just a mass of light.
Okay. But you didn't see any frames or anything like that, or
Any what?
frames, that would...
Oh, no,
Right,
no,
right.
no, no.
Okay, it's just straight. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. When it moved to the left. Oh yeah. Okay. Now it was stated in the report that as you saw it there above you, right? It shifted to the left. All right.
I don't remember anything when it was shifting.
No. It just went. Okay. What happened? You're looking in one direction.
Yeah.
All right, and it's
But this time I'm in the ditch.
right.
I'm looking up like that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, now the thing was, how did you lose track of it? What happened to it eventually? Did it
All of a sudden, the fog disappeared.
right?
It
Was that
seemed to glow a little bit brighter.
okay.
And the next thing, it was just, it was gone.
Okay, just blinked out and gone. Okay, it wasn't a matter of just going higher up.
Maybe it went up another 100 feet.
Okay, is that when it lost that fog or haze or whatever was underneath it? Okay, that's important because usually what happens is these columns of water disintegrate after the UFO moves up. So it goes up, it continues up, and then all of a sudden just gone.
That's it.
Okay. So you didn't know whether it went horizontally, zip, or up, vertical?
No, it
zip?
just went up and
Disappeared.
it just didn't disappear.
Yeah.
It was.
Sometimes they have incredible speed. So, I mean, it can appear... to
Incredible speed.
Yeah.
Well, for something that I was looking at, that hovered about 200 to 300 feet off the water, went up another 100 feet,
Right.
I'd say,
Mhm.
and there was a slight bit of movement,
Rocking?
and no, it was just, it went up and then, I mean, it was just gone.
Okay. Okay.
I know it didn't it didn't go over me.
Okay. No, I was
When
just...
it left, it went this way,
Okay.
right across here.
Okay, so that's north. Okay, it disappeared to the north and almost instantaneously. Okay.
Yeah.
I got the road now. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay.
I'm sure my description of the sound that it made, he made a note of that too.
Okay. One thing I'd like to find out, and this is just a casual thing. Back, rather than the 7:30 p.m. when you saw the UFO, back up to 5:30. Okay. Now this has nothing to do with the UFO.
Okay.
I'm just interested in what, in general, you were doing between 5:30 and 7:30.
Eating dinner at my parents' home.
Okay.
Coming home from work at 4:30, taking a shower, shaving, eating with my parents. Calling Pink Davis. Let's go out and jazz a couple broads tonight. And fine, we'll get a couple 6-packs, take them out in the woods. And maybe a couple hours of fun out there. And then we drove out to Goucher.
Okay. The reason I asked, I'm just curious to see if you would determine, anything you're watching TV, you see some kind of science fiction theater thing and whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So you weren't influenced at all prior to the sighting by anything extraordinary on TV or
Listen to radio in the automobile.
That's fine. Music or news or what?
Probably, just a radio
travel.
station.
Okay. I was kind of curious, again, back to the craft, and you did say you saw a part of the bottom. Was it glowing with any other color? I mean, or black?
The bottom was flatter than the top.
The bottom was flatter.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to come up with something and bring it back down.
And there was a bump on the top.
There was a bump? Would it be like... Oh, yeah, that's getting to be more like a friend of ours. Okay. All right. Okay.
And this is where the fog was.
Right. Right through by this bump.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was glowing.
The bottom part.
Yeah.
Right. And the top part.
No, that was hard to determine because it was conical in shape. The only thing that was really definitive was this band of ultraviolet light.
Okay. All right. I have several sketches. I'll try to bring the book down sometime if I can. All right. And then we'll see if we can get something closer to what it really is, because this thing is way off from this. All right. I did that. Okay, I'm finished with those questions. So I guess the only thing we have to do is back up to viewed. We covered that. UFO direction. I think we just about covered it, Keith. Oh. Oh, you're here. Okay, that's... I had the address, it said Ruxton, but it didn't say where, Maryland or whatever, so I didn't know if this, okay. We're down.
And even through all these many, many years that Pink and I have grown up together, Pink just last week had a triple bypass. He is 73. And we have visited them on many occasions in California, Thousand Oaks, California. They have come and visited us. His brother still lives here. We have never discussed it.
It works that way.
And another strange thing, of course, when I tell this story, a lot of skeptics in this world. And it almost makes you feel like maybe I should be living down in Shepherd Pratt someplace. But
okay.
One of my other closest friends, and he was here on one of Pink's trips, and he'll stop over every once in a while. He was United States Treasury presidential bodyguard, and he literally said to Pink, "Is this a figment of Hal's imagination?" And Pink would not discuss it with him. He said, "No, it's no imagination. Something was there that night. I don't wish to discuss it." And that was it. And we have never discussed it since.
There's a lot of cases like that where the other person doesn't want to talk about it. They just want to blow it away so that they don't look like fools. I noticed by the year it occurred, you said 52, 53.
What?
Okay, the sighting. It's 1952. 53.
I'd say 53.
Okay. That makes you 21 years old at the time, right?
That's right, 21, 22 years old.
Okay, because if you notice on the form, he's got 56. That's the reason I was kidding. I said, you'd be
Yeah.
103 years old, was there? Okay, 21 for the age. All right. And I think I'm pretty well done. The other gentleman, do we need any information on him? He didn't fill out a report,
Yeah, he won't talk.
but if we have the police report,
Then we can go over that direction.
bingo.
Then we're
So,
all set.
And the only reason that I ever brought this up, or it was more or less out of my mind too, and working with Baltimore County government. Baltimore County government is a very close-knit organization in those days. There was one paper in Towson called the Jeffersonian, and I think during the years they would experience a little they regress and pull up some of their ads and their headlines and a little nostalgia. And I happened to read it in the paper. I guess the other gentleman did the same thing. That's when I got a call.
That's
That
right.
was-
I knew there was a newspaper involved. I thought that you had been interviewed, but I didn't realize that there was a discrepancy there.
But-
So-
It was in the paper. I read it.
but this wasn't like the next day's paper. It was, what, a future?
yeah,
That's, of course, that's if you're
30
going
years later.
30 years later. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now there was another event at Loch Ness.
Loch Raven, you
Loch
mean.
Raven, I mean. Yeah, Loch. Oh, jeez. Sorry about that.
Let's not bring in that.
No, Loch Raven in 1958, which Keith and I both know about. This was similar. It was a lot of cars being knocked out and so forth. But this was an independent case if it was a different date. you know. So it definitely wasn't 58. Okay.
No, I got married in 61. 58, no. Dad had tuberculosis and he was in Uterwood Hospital. And I postponed my wedding until Dad came out of the hospital because I was taking care of my mother in that home.
Well, that settles the main question.
No, not 1958.
So it was like a Friday night, the month of May. Is that what was determined in 1953?
A Friday night?
Or I'm assuming you went out on a date. Was it a weekend night?
No. No, let me say.
Yeah.
No. It was during the week sometime.
Okay.
Because everybody that lived in Towson, their source of fun and relaxation were the nurses up at Windy Bray at Shepherd Pratt that used to walk down York Road. And the girls at Goucher. And that's where our dating came from.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is narrow it down to a possible day, month, so I can contact the police department and maybe get that report. The more information
I'd say it was in May, around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, it was warm because the top was down on the convertible.
So it'd be closer, would you say, to the end of the month than the beginning of the month, or
That's hard.
hard to tell? Okay, no problem. Okay.
Because I would like to take this one step. Okay.
What was the size of this thing?
Well, they said 200 to 300 feet in this thing.
Pardon me?
What do you determine the size to be? What did you think the size was?
Between 150 to 200 feet in diameter.
150 to 200 feet. Okay, because
I mean, this was a big, big thing.
yeah.
This wasn't something that looked like a pie pan. This was a big, big mess.
Yeah. See, because the way he's got real size, and they've got various things like larger, smaller, same size as a basketball, compact car, standard car, and then they have over here other, and he's got 200 to 300 feet in diameter. But you're saying
I'd say 150, 200 feet in diameter.
200. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's wrong. Okay, so that's 150 to 200 feet.
First of all, the elevation was as such that there was no way, because it was so open over the water, nothing was in relationship.
You couldn't judge trees
You
against it or
couldn't
anything.
see
like
a building here, and then you kind of figure, well, if that building is 200 feet, maybe that's 200 feet.
Okay, so we'll switch off now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This didn't happen at the same time, I'm sure. But it was in the paper too. But I think it was also in the Sun paper at this time that maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, at the very end of this bridge, where's that in that map?
Oh, I just tucked it away. Hold on. Or did I? No, here it is.
All right. Now this bridge was a girder bridge, not a solid mass. It was girders, like a very, very old bridge. And no retaining walls. At the very end of this bridge,
Crisscross.
where are we here? It's almost a 90-degree bend. If you go straight, you'd go into a rock mass. You'd have to slow down to actually make a deliberate 90-degree turn. This was all in darkness. Right here at the end of this, right there at that point, at the end of the bridge, the far end of the bridge, the paper had an article. There was a car had disappeared and a man had disappeared. They didn't know where. He was a courier of some sort. They were doing some modifications on the bridge, sent down some divers. There's the car, the skeletal mass of the courier with the handcuffs still on the bones and the other end of the handcuff or chain to the briefcase that he was carrying. Right at the same place. Skeletal time. Well,
It seems like something's going on there.
Yeah.
well,
There you go.
Okay. Was it more rounded than that? Like if the bottom was...
no, the bottom was flatter than the top.
Okay, so maybe more like...
Yeah.
Okay. And then... let's see. Something like that, maybe?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Was this more rounded, or was it... like maybe more like... let's see.
Well, that's basically it, yeah.
Okay. I had it a little bit flatter here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's... And then, was the surface kind of like a shiny surface, or was it a dull
It was glowing.
glow? Okay, the whole thing was glowing. Okay.
I can't tell you, but the top was glowing.
But the bottom part was.
The bottom part was glowing.
And then in between the two, the bottom and the top, was the light.
The band of ultraviolet lighting.
Okay.
Stephen, one thing, he said that this part that had like this column of water
Uh-huh.
was absolutely flat.
Oh, it was absolutely flat?
Right, so you
okay.
might have a slight incline on either side.
Okay. So even if it came down like this, it would all of a sudden become flat.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then that's it.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, I'll draw this better later, but just to get an idea. Let's see. Any kind of other details that you can think of besides just a big glow?
This was, I'd say, 6 to 7 feet in height.
Okay.
The band of ultraviolet.
So that was pretty tall.
That's one thing we did miss, and I don't believe it was on the form, which is underneath there. The total height.
Oh, from the top to bottom?
Right.
Oh my
At
God.
the width, I don't know if,
I'd say, you mean the thickness?
yes, of the entire object, not just the band.
50, 60 feet
50 to 60 feet. Okay.
in mass, in height.
Right. And then he's got, since you're gonna do it to scale, I guess,
Now you've also got to realize one thing.
right.
When we saw this, it was at this elevation.
Angled.
Right.
So we saw the bottom part of this.
Yeah, yeah.
So you looked up and
There was
saw.
no way we could really see
The top,
the top of it.
right, not the whole top.
But I know it was,
That might be that bulge at the top. Well, I don't think it'll
Well,
be that.
yeah, it wouldn't be that. Yeah,
It'll be less oval.
it would be more like. Let's see.
Yeah, that's more like a
And then
ellipse.
and then the flat area underneath, and then this was.
That certainly looks like it, I'll tell you that.
Maybe something like that.
yeah.
And then this had the fog coming straight
yeah.
down from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And this was orange.
This whole part here was orange?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except
like a bright.
where the fog was.
Okay.
And this was like an eerie white light.
okay, good.
How about the top part of it? The whole craft was glowing, or just the bottom
No.
part that you could see? Just the.
I lied to say that the upper part was glowing too. No,
Couldn't
No.
see it that well.
Just the bottom side.
we saw the bottom of it.
Okay.
And I put 150 to 200 for the width.
And when it made this noise, and it made you mum, 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 you could see almost a pulsation. Whether it was moving up and down, or maybe the fog was moving up and down, or the water was moving up and down.
That whiteness, was it like a, what do you call it? Waterfall, not a waterfall, but at the base of the waterfall, you see that foam or steam?
Like a mist.
Mist, yeah. Would it be more like that, or was it more solid?
Oh no, it was like,
Fog mist, okay.
And was it all pretty much contained within that beam?
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So the upper part of the craft pretty much was silhouetted, kind of dark in shadows because of the underlighting, would you say? Like if I were to illustrate
Well,
it.
this
Mhm.
was distinguished by
The beam of light, or the
beam of light, the ultraviolet light, and going across.
Right. Okay.
In other words, it was pitch dark, black. There are no lights out there.
Well, that would make sense from this drawing over here then, Steve. Just sling that over.
Mhm.
Okay. If he's drawing it like on edge,
Mhm.
you're looking at it at an angle.
Right.
So the orange part, which is the bottom part, is that part.
Right.
that
Is
you
this?
had.
Yeah.
Yep. Area here,
But
and then
the
this.
top part that he is ultraviolet is actually the band.
Right.
So what you're seeing here at the top, across, is the band. This bulge at the top.
That's the top of the. That would be
well-
this part up here, which I guess wouldn't have a.
Skip my drawing because that's better actually now. But this is what he had as ultraviolet. He has nothing above the ultraviolet. So your
I see.
band up top is almost, the whole thing is almost ultraviolet up top there. Did you see anything above the band?
Oh yeah, that was it. You could determine. Yeah, there was.
So you could see this part of the craft here.
Yeah,
Part
Yeah.
of it anyway.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not mistaken, too, when this thing took off, it seemed to do. It tipped,
Yeah.
and then you could actually see what it was.
Okay. Here's another question. When it tipped, okay, did it go in the direction that it had tipped? Oh, you couldn't tell, it was so fast.
It tipped slightly
Right.
and took off that way.
And then,
Not across me,
okay. All right.
across the body of water.
Yeah, you said to the north. That's fine. Okay.
This the orange underside, was it like just a bright light, or was it more like a glowing?
It was glowing.
Just glowing.
It
Okay.
was almost like a piece of band iron.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually described too.
Trying to think if there's any other.
There are usually
Detail.
very few details. No antennas, anything sticking out of it like that? No. Okay. We've already done windows, no windows, so
If you were to be directly underneath of it, looking straight up, would you say it would be completely round shaped?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it was round.
Okay.